Hello everybody, and we're gonna get right to it. This video I'm making before I go to bed. It's going to be about why you shouldn't engage in relations with beings, certain beings. It's going to be a little bit of story time. It's going to be kind of serious but fun video. One of the reasons you shouldn't engage with beings in astral, I think they call it astral sex or something like that. But I'm just going to use the word relations because I don't want them to take this video down for whatever reason. Okay. One of the reasons you shouldn't is because you don't know if you're messing with a higher being or a lower being, which is a demon. And I don't mean daemon, which daemons are messengers, It's two different kinds. Demons, I'm pretty sure you've heard about demons, right? And they roam in the astral realm. And now I get a little bit into the story time. Early in my 20s, I had just made this is before I made 21. I had just broke up with my high school sweetheart and things like that. And I started hitting the occult world hard. I had already been dabbling just a little bit, that oddball going to school and stuff like that. And I had been wanting to learn how to astral travel. I was looking for the books. I wanted to know about the third eye, the interdimensional stuff, how to cross realms, portals, all that stuff. I wanted to know how to do all that stuff. And in some of my research, I came across this being. I will not name this being because it wasn't a great experience for me, So I'm going to get open and real. I came across this being in my readings, And let me just tell you, my whole family is, some of my family, majority of them is into the occult stuff too. So I grew up with it. Somewhat. Some is and some ain't. So let me just say that. Some is and some ain't. Some keep it on a hush and don't really tell nobody else, but they is just from their stories and stuff. So I'll just say that. But anyway, I came across this being. And he's a highly praised being, Some would even call him a god, things like that. And I started digging the being. I started researching. And that's one of the ways that when you put it's all about energy. It's an energetic field. And when you put your energy out there, it's like an open call, an open door for other beings. It's not just a closed portal. You actually open yourself up. So what I messed up at is I didn't kind of protect myself during that situation. And now when I got a little older, I know how to protect myself. It didn't scare me away from the realm or the world because this is what I do. I actually do readings and stuff for people. That's like my career, I'm an entrepreneur. I do readings, esoteric, all that stuff, I love it. That's my life. I love that stuff. But when you're growing up, you don't always do everything the right way. So I came across this being, like I said, some can call him a god or whatever. And I started just researching, and that's what starts opening up portals sometimes. You just start really throwing out your energy and you're requesting this certain being or you're requesting this certain type of energy. And what you don't realize is some of the beings carry some of the same energy, but not all the way on the same level. Some of them, it can be a lower being that might be closer to you that can portray themselves as that higher being that you're actually seeking and calling. And that's some of the things some of what happened to me. And you guys, I didn't even know. I didn't even know that type of thing was taking place. So I would go into the dream, and I noticed that a lot of my dreams I wouldn't even remember. But I'll remember, like, before I wake up, somebody was kissing me, kissing my face, you know? But I didn't remember the other part. So I'm thinking, what I was thinking was that maybe it was the being that, you know, the one that I said I thought was a god and things like that. Maybe it was, you know, him. And I proceeded on and was like really enthralled with this being. But what I didn't know, the lower being was the ones that was calling me, was the one that literally was calling me energetically to this certain space. And by me being so young, and I say I was young and dumb, it was like I didn't know as much as I thought. So when I went to sleep, I'll unconsciously astral travel to the lower being instead of the higher one that I was calling the first time. Now, the lower one took advantage. Why? Not why, but how. One of the ways that the lower being took advantage of me is the fact that when we're in this human vessel, it's so many restrictions to some of the things that we can do, some of the things that we know, and just they can see us, but we can't see them. They know about us, but we don't know about them. They know about our past lives, but we don't know about theirs. You know, some of these beings, when you go into the astral realm, you don't even know that it can be a past lover, a past enemy, a past anything, you know, but they would know, but you wouldn't. And that's the kind of the freaky part, you know. So this lower being was calling me. But guess what he was calling me for relations. And I didn't even know until I started getting bits and pieces of what was happening during those scenarios, you know? So it turned out I was seeking one, but just a connection. It didn't even appear like I was seeking the so-called God or whatever, just for those type of romantic relations. It didn't appear that I was doing that, but on an energetic level, from me just getting out of a relationship and things like that, I probably was. My energy body was saying that, and who picked up on it was the lower being, and not just one lower being. It turns out when I had another reading that it was more than just one other being that became attached to me, you know? And if you're not careful or volunteer that type of stuff, you don't want that stuff to be, you don't want to be engaged in stuff like that. And honestly, you can end up heartbroken, you know? Because the lower being didn't have respect like a higher being would. A higher being would cut that off completely. You know, it'll let you know, the being will let you know that that's not something that they participate in the first place. But like I said, I was in my early 20s, so I didn't know exactly like how it goes. So it's like you live and you learn. And that was one of the situations I lived, and I definitely learned. And I learned more of how to protect myself with my actual light, my starseed light, the light that I had gained over trillions of years. I'm an old soul. I did find that out too. And most likely you're an old soul too, to even be watching this type of stuff. But when we're younger, if we don't get the proper information, we don't know that. We don't know to kind of delve in it like that, especially if we have certain family members that like on the hush, like I had mentioned before. If they're on the hush, but you know they doing it, but they don't want to let other family members know that they're actually into that because it might be taboo and things like that. You just go out here and you're searching, but you can come across the wrong information and start doing the wrong thing like what I did. So if you are into astral things like that, always protect yourself. I don't care what guides you think you have. I don't care what ancestors you think are protecting you. Every time you fall asleep, if you feel something is not right, hey, get your army around you. Get that light around you. Pull that cosmic light down on you. You know, connect with your team. Connect with your team to protect you, you know? And something else, depending on how you live your life, you can become connected to one of those lower beings too, the ones that I call demon. So it's not free just to walk around and just do negative things. It's not free because other beings can see that, and they'll so-called attach themselves to you in one way or another, you know, and they're not easy to get off. I'm not saying you have to go so far as to get an exorcist or something like that, but they can kind of mess up your life, mess up your structure. And like I said, they can break your heart too. You know, at the end of the day, you're a light being. You're an energetic soul. You know, you feel things, you know, and messing around in that world should not be taken lightly. Those beings are nothing to play with, and you need to know who you're talking to and who you're dealing with, because you might think you're dealing with one person, or you might think that the one person or the one being or the one entity that you're dealing with is a certain type of way, and he can end up being a jerk. It could end up being a jerk. And that's why you just need to be well aware of who you're trying to contact. You need to always stay protected when you're in this world and when you're into this occult stuff. It's no joke. It's not to scare you away from it, because you are a spiritual being and you don't have to go the regular religious way and all that type of stuff, but just always stay protected. Regardless, always protect yourself no matter what. And don't just wait and depend on some ancestor or some spiritual guide or some angel or some God to protect you. You protect yourself. Know who you are. Who are you? You are a star seed. And what does that mean? That means you have all sorts of power and cosmic light, whether you can see it or not. Surround yourself in that light. And especially if you're living your life a certain way, you know, when you have your energy up to a certain level, certain beings cannot intercede with you. And the only reason why I was in that situation is because in a certain form I was calling, and I left a door open for that being to get through. You need to learn about doors too. Portals. You have them sometime all through your house. Depending on your emotional body, depending on your mental body, depending on how you're feeling. And some of those things you need to clear out. And sometimes it's as simple to clear out as a thought, as a want, as a desire, as you commanding yourself and knowing who you are. You know? So I guess that's what this video will be about. It's just, maybe you should hold off from messing around in that astral in that type of manner.